All right, I want to tap into a past experience you all have had. Tap into this memory of when you were out in a social environment, public bar, restaurant, and somebody caught your eye. It might have been 30 years ago for some of you, maybe 3 days ago. You sat there with your friends. You questioned, maybe they're in a relationship. Are they single? Maybe I should go talk to them. Would I be interrupting their conversation? 45 minutes later comes, the bill comes, you all leave. The end. The connection never happened. Now I want to introduce you to Socialeyes, where real connections happen in real time with the power of technology. The dating world has completely changed over the past 10 years. If you haven't dated since 2015, you probably have never used a dating app. You've probably never mindlessly swiped left, swiped right, messaged for 18 different people only to meet up with somebody that was underwhelming. And you're like, man, I got to go through this all again. Socialeyes brings people together in public hosted facilities and connects people in real time with fun and engaging features that connects people in a guided approach to make real connections in real time. We use indoor positioning software to where accuracy is within a meter to where you are, and if somebody catches your eye, you can wink at them. You can connect with them. So let's talk about the problem of the dating app world, of spending all this time swiping left, swiping right, in this isolated new world that we live in where people are sitting at home on social media. People crave, what is the problem with the current dating app world? People crave more connections, face-to-face interactions. All the missed opportunities that you get while you're out and about and you see somebody that catches your eye. All the wasted time, as I talked about, messaging, swiping left, swiping right. And our generation has become very reliant on technology to connect us. Over 25% of people are on dating apps today, and another 20% of people have tested dating apps. And there's no dating app that connects people or enables them to go out solo to public facilities to meet people in real time. So that's kind of the problem with the current dating landscape today, is many people are using technology, but they're not too excited about those technologies that they're using. What is the solution? Our product, like I said, using indoor technology, location services, if you see somebody that catches your eye, simply send them a wink. Women can be invisible. One of the primary focuses of our app is safety. Women can be invisible. If somebody catches your eye, though, you can wink at them. If they wink back, you can make a connection, and that's where the fun begins. There's several puzzles, games, features that we utilize to, let's say you make a connection and a word like yield comes up. The first puzzle, yield, what does that mean? Are they into grapes? Are they into business? Yield and diverted another way. It gives you a word that populates based off the data that you've implemented into the app to make it fun and, hey, go meet this person. Now you know that they're single, you know they're interested, you know they're approachable, and there's a word that you guys can now solve, and you can even have 1 or 2 messages to connect to them. So there's 2 aspects of the app. One is communicating in real time in these facilities, and the other aspects is driving people to certain location hosted by public facilities, restaurants, bars. They can host Capture the Flag. They can host different Find the Mole using 3D augmented reality technology. When you walk into a bar, what you do is you populate yourself. You activate yourself with your avatar. Just to give you a little bit of a design prototype here, you activate yourself in the location, you dress yourself. So I would have, my avatar would be black and blue, and then you can kind of see who else is on this app in real time. If you connect, there are a couple icebreaker questions you can ask to get the engagement started. And then it encourages you, after 2 or 3 messages, go meet that person, go across the bar, take the journey. The rejection element is out of the window because you just connected. The second aspect of the app is driving people to certain locations, whether you're in a new city looking for things to do, or whether it's a slow Wednesday night and you're looking, what do I do from 7 to 9 o'clock tonight? Oh, Prohibition Bar is hosting a 70s night or a 90s night or a ladies night or this type of engagement, or a tech night that brings tech people together, tech singles together. And so it's a way to drive people to certain locations. There can be drink specials. There can be fun games that the bars host. So we have features that we've designed that the bars can host and have different engaging type of activities with these different singles. The market growth. I know it's another dating app. It's not another dating app though. This is an engagement app. The industry right now is at $6 billion, just the dating app industry alone, and it's climbing faster than you can imagine. One, because people are more reliant on technology, and two, because people want love. People will pay for love. The market landscape, last year, Match Group did $3 billion. Bumble did $530 million. And there's no app that connects people in real time with what we've designed. In the 100 largest cities, 57% of people are single, and 53% of women, 57% of women are single, 53% of men are single. And this is like combining Bumble with Pokemon Go. So think of augmented reality to where you can see elements in real time. And Pokemon Go did $500 million in the first 60 days. I know this isn't the gaming industry. I'll get in trouble by the panelists. I already understand this. The gaming industry is expected to be $545 billion by 2028. But there are gaming elements to this that make it interactive and fun that I don't want to get too much into our features because that's our secret sauce. The current pulse, I'm way over my time. I said this with over 50 people, not a ton of people we've tested with so far, but over 70% of people said they would be willing to pay for this app. There's a prominent investor out of Silicon Valley that talks about, that's what's on this little picture here, that talks about the next big app is connecting in real time and building new relationships in real time in these facilities in public. 22% of singles, I've kind of gone over that a little bit, but a big aspect of the new climate and landscape of the world today is people are isolated. A lot of remote working from home. People are looking for things to do on different nights. And when they don't have those things to do, they're swiping left, they're swiping right. And instead, what if you could enable, instead of one of 100 people going out by themselves, but 50 out of 100 people going out solo to connect with other singles? What if you gave them the power to go out solo? The business model, which is the most important part, is there's a freemium part to get people on the app, and then there's premium elements. Bars can host hosted events, sponsored events for $40 an hour. And there's also fun ways to pay for things in the app through crypto. There's an NFT element, more of a version 2 element of the app. Our go-to-market strategy, there's several different ways we plan to go to market that we've already got a little traction through. It's me, Joe so far, who's a senior developer. We have 2 other design UI developers that are helping us. We are trying to raise $500,000 to test this in 2 markets, and Charlotte and ideally Atlanta or DC, maybe New York. Thank you for your time. That's Socialeyes.
Sounds good. Thanks for that. I think that was really good. Maybe just one initial thing. I think you got into the problem really fast, and we could all feel it. Like you had good momentum towards the beginning, and then it felt like we really slowed down when we got into the slides and a lot of the detail. Like it was really written out. There was a lot to read. There was a lot of attention, and the attention went away from you, which you did a nice job at the very beginning of like keeping all the eyes, all the momentum right on you, and then it kind of went over into the slide deck, and it felt like it kind of started to really slow down and drag a little bit. I would encourage you, I feel like, say one thing in the problem section, but you kind of had us already. You had us hooked and we were kind of into it, and then kind of start to move on into the rest of it from there. You're right about the gaming industry and things like that. I think you don't need to talk about how big each one of those are. The biggest thing I took away from that was the combo of Bumble and Pokemon Go. It was actually a really good, I don't know, what metaphor, whatever you want to use it, like comparison idea there. You don't even need to get into the size of that market. We know it's big. Like at that point, then you can kind of move on, and that's a good hook in terms of, okay, that's how we can start to think about this. The gamification thing, it didn't make a lot of sense. It also felt like it wasn't necessarily organized very well within the rest of the deck. So I might just encourage you to think about that and how it flows within the rest of the presentation. But otherwise, I thought it was good. The only other thing I wrote was just it was a lot of words.
Yeah.
So that, and maybe I'll my question
Words in the pitch deck, or
in the deck, a little bit of both actually. So it felt like it went a little bit long, and like we could have gotten to the end a little bit faster, like because we were ready to get to like the ask, not the end, no, really the ask, and like, all right, what do you want from us, and where are we kind of going from here? I was going to ask you, how do you plan on getting to some type of traction here? Like you said, you've surveyed, or you tested this with 50 people. What's next?
There is a leveraging like bar crawls, things like that, having hosted events at bars, like driving traffic, them like holding some of the first sponsored events, using social media influencers. Even a couple social media influencers here in Charlotte have engaged and discussed this, at how much like people need this. Like people keep telling me like, Joel, bring this freaking app to the world. And so there's a couple other ways that we can do it, but really having sponsored events and getting large groups of people on the app at one time, like 40 to 80 per night, like in a city, and then it multiplies. And there's an ally aspect to the app that connects other people and brings other people, that each user in brings other people.
Got it. That makes sense. And this is something I'd encourage you to highlight. What makes you the perfect person to do this? What gives you kind of your unfair advantage to do this versus someone else doing it?
Yeah. Is that a question, or put it in the next? Oh man.
Who are you? Where did you come from? Why are you the relevant person to go do this?
Yeah, this specific app, I would say I dated in my 20s, and I didn't date for a while. I was in a healthy relationship for a while. Then I went back into dating. I'm like, dating apps is the new world, it's like, and then I learned it, and I just saw the problems, and I've always been a problem solver. Yeah. And so it's something I've been working on for 2 years. And besides like putting it into full-time action, and but I'm a people connector, and I think I know people really well. Psychology is a big element to me. So understanding how people connect and how people move, what drives people to find these emotional connections, I think make me the guy for it. Got truly. It. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, a lot of that. So first and foremost, flow. Pick a problem. All of those are relevant. Pick the one that you feel most viscerally. So your lead-in story was good. If you then segued into your personal story, and that's the problem you feel viscerally, that flows directly into one problem statement and then move forward. That helps us just keep it moving forward. And then, I just flipped to the numbers anyways, but when you're constructing a pitch deck, think about a few words, busy slides, especially if you're in a talking situation, force everybody to read your slides. So we stopped kind of paying attention to you, and you're a good presenter. So and we're talking about connecting socially, right? So if we're looking here, we're not looking at you. Yeah. Which again, gives us mixed signals. You definitely, I like the Bumble Pokemon juxtaposition too. And again, you don't need to tell us how much that is. We do know instinctively. So I do think some of the detail and context you can pull out, because I think even if people don't know the nitty gritty, as my grandmother would say, we kind of know what you're talking about, and you can move on. So you don't have to dig deep. Two other things, based on the flow, I would have assumed you had no traction. So back to having you tested it in, I don't care if you tested it in 2 people. Talk about the 2 people's experience. You got to it so late that now I'm like, okay, what was their experience? Did they like it? Did they give you feedback? Tell us about not all the features, but if you're just talking about one feature, I mean, the traction part, again, whether this is a friendly pitch situation or, I mean, there might be several check writers in the audience, letting people know, 50 people tested this in a, small group session, and this is what they, said. If you have been focus grouping this, is that a word, with influencers, for example, or with bars, and they're chomping at the bit, you want to create that demand situation. And you want to express that so people know that, yes, I'm trying to potentially raise $500,000. And because these folks have shown me, hey, yes, this is how we'd use this, we are going to immediately be able to kick off these couple of events. We've got, these folks, and then we've already tested this, and this is what, yada, yada, yada. We immediately, again, can connect to this is how we'd use it. But speaking to your problem, I just looked at my cup. My Starbucks cup says, "You look so pretty," which means I clearly missed an in-person connection opportunity. But so it sounds like, you're hitting on something. I would just say you want to make sure, again, you don't, and this happens a lot, and I think this is a state of general VC, we're over-leaning towards narrative. Yeah. And forget about the business and the product. So everybody's telling the story and creating all of this extra fluff, and we forget that there's a business tucked under here. So let's remember that there's a product. We need to know about the business. We need to know how you make money. We need to know who your customers are, why they're coming to you. Why am I going to choose you over Bumble? What are the features that, there's a business here. And you're leading in, you're pulling me in with your story, you're pulling me in with who you are. I'm captivated by the personality, but what's the business? Yeah. Because if all the investors dry up, you got to make money. So just remember, business model, business, graphs, yada, yada, yada. But, don't over-index on the social media, narrative parts of your pitch, because sometimes it can mean that you're like, oh, okay. I guess it's a dating app, right? And you don't want us to walk away without really knowing the whys and the whats.